Oh my bloody god, it's William Shakespeare. Let's see what he has to say.
Hello, my name is William Shakespeare, and I'm right about to take you through a journey through Hamlet. A special journey, because it requires you to put on your historical lens.
Welcome to another episode of Bill Shakespeare, the Humanities Guy. This episode, Hamlet.
Hamlet rules!
Bill!
Ears are a symbol in Hamlet.
Welcome to my class, Hamlet 101.
Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah,
I don't know what a historical lens is. Can you please summarize it for me in 3 to 4 sentences as you understand it?
of course. The historical lens allows one to understand the author's background and place the political, economical, and sociological conditions of the era into context in order to properly understand a work. A subject of contention is that the historical lens portrays a work too empirically, that the focus shifts to a comparison of facts and the author's intent, and that such a view is too narrow and judgmental. Nonetheless, it helps reveal the background of certain phrases and allusions used by the author, as well as the effect of the work overall on the intended audience of the period. But most importantly, it allows us to observe the social and cultural differences between the historical period and present times, and the extent to which our ideologies and values have changed over time.
Mr. Shakespeare,
Yeah.
what is required of me as a reader to consider and notice as I read and analyze Hamlet?
Alright, some things to consider when looking at Hamlet through a historical lens are how contemporary values from the Elizabethan and Renaissance time periods could have influenced or impacted Shakespeare's attitudes and subject matters. Elizabethan era values, such as the chain of being, are important to think about in relation to the values demonstrated in Hamlet, whereas Roman cultural references should be considered as characteristic of the Renaissance revival of Greek and Roman culture across Europe. Equally as important, you should ask yourself some of the following questions while reading the historical lens. What is the historical context of the work? How is the work received by the public and the critics? What were the social attitudes and cultural practices of the time period? To what extent is this piece relevant to the past? What are the author's beliefs and influences? How does this relate to this piece? First, we're going to analyze our titular character's historical inspiration by looking at this ancient video clip.
Alright, my name's Claudius, that's my brother Hamlet over there. I got this really dangerous poison. Let's go kill him.
Oh, I've been poisoned. The leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates of and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor it doth possess and curd, like eager droppings into milk, the thin and wholesome blood. So did it mine, and a most instant tedder barked about, most Lazar-like, with vile and loathsome crust, all my smooth body. Oh, I am slain!
Oh, it's such a nice day being Hamlet, taking a nice stroll through the orchard of my castle. You know, just enjoying some food. Yeah, enjoying this beautiful nature we got. I really like this hat I just got the other day. I mean, it looks kind of unique, but it's like I wish I could just be myself rather than being subjected to the pressures of society that my title as prince has given me. I don't know, in the future, hopefully someone will write a play about me in an era where humanism and individual traits are valued. Oh, I think this good name for this era would be called the Renaissance, like the Rebirth or something. Hey! What's going on here?
Nothing, Hamlet. It's a prank. It's a prank. There's a camera. See, there's a camera right there. Your dad and I were just messing with you is all. He's fine. I was just kidding. It's
Wait, is he dead?
No, he's faking. He's fine. He's fine.
So
Yeah.
this is just a prank?
Yeah, I just pretend to kill your dad, and then I took his crown, but it was all just a joke, you know.
Oh! Oh, the camera guy right there. Oh, this makes so
Yeah.
much sense.
Yeah.
This is just. Oh, this reminds me. Oh, this is like in the Elizabethan era, like King James I.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Just like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I got you.
Yeah. It's just a prank.
All right, cool.
Got him!
Okay.
Bye.
Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the reference you made to King James in the last video clip. Could you please explain it to me?
Of course. King James was an English monarch during the Elizabethan era. In 1567, James's father, Henry Stuart, was killed by a rival nobleman named James Hepburn. Hepburn soon after married Stuart's wife, Mary, and thus created a controversy that split the country into two sides.
Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But what new or different information about Hamlet is there that would not have been obvious? Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But what new or different information about Hamlet is there that would not have been obvious if not examined through the historical lens?
Great question. The parallel to King James adds depth to Hamlet's character because everyone in the intended audience at that time period would have heard of this tragedy and would have sympathized with the situation. Not only this, but Shakespeare also performed this tragedy to King James during King James's rule. Bet you didn't know that.
Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Are there any other historical parallels that I should be aware of?
Yeah, of course there are. Like the Earl of Essex, who Hamlet is also partially based on. The Earl of Essex was a Scottish nobleman who recruited Shakespeare's patron, the Earl of Southampton, in his rebellion against Queen Elizabeth. The Earl of Essex was accused of being mad as he spoke treasonous words, like how Hamlet had treasonous thoughts as feigning madness.
Okay, Lamborghini Mercy. Yo, chick,
Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah,
Are there any scenes in Hamlet that would be good to analyze through the historical lens?
of course. The gravedigger scene is especially insightful. I'm thinking about it right now.
Alright, that's good, that's good.
Just a couple of gravedigger bodies digging a grave. You know who this grave's for, right? Ophelia. Hey, but did you know she committed suicide? No. Yeah, that's bloody ridiculous, right? Yeah, would you like to hear some new or different information about this scene that would not have been obvious and not analyzed through the historical lens? Oh yeah. Okay, so actually in Elizabethan era, the time when this scene was being played, suicide was illegal. So actually, Ophelia should not be getting this regular proper burial that she's receiving right now. She would have been buried outside the city walls with a dishonorable death. Because honor was really important in in the Elizabethan era, and suicide was the quickest way to become dishonorable. Yeah, so like the audience would have looked at the scene and would have been bloody shocked, like these people.
Oh, I'm
shocked.
Shocked. Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Are there any other Elizabethan values demonstrated in the play?
Yeah. The Fortinbras, a former enemy of the state, was crowned king of Denmark at the end of the play, instead of one of the royal family's many loyal followers, demonstrates the Elizabethan belief in the chain of being, in which royalty is at the top of the human tier. Fortinbras is appointed king because he would have been viewed as inherently more fit to rule than a Danish commoner, due to his royalty in Norway.
Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr.
Shut up!
Shakespeare.
It's time for a pop take-home demonstration of knowledge. Create a general statement about Hamlet from the perspective of the historical lens.
To tell him he gotta check this ghost. So Hamlet step up to his ghost daddy and tell him that.
3 hours later.
Alright, time to turn in your pop take-home demonstration of knowledge. Let's see. General statement. Shakespeare's Hamlet reflects the values of the Renaissance in which it was written, in exploring human curiosity and the search for truth, both in political, social, religious, and internal contexts. Not bad. Congratulations. You've graduated and made it to Hamlet 252.
Hooray.